Greetings and salutations, everybody. It's been a little while since I last sat down with one of these films from the Elvira's 2010 iteration of her movie Macabre. From the box set, for those who are new, there are about 26 movies in that box set, and I was trying to go through them one per week, but after about 8 weeks, I needed to either just throw in the towel completely or at least space them out for the sake of my own mental health. Something I actually got to speak with Cassandra about at a con a few months ago, which is pretty cool. But anyways, not that long after I took that little break, I went back into them. So like every few weeks, I would try to work in another title, because it can be kind of rough to get through. But anyways, for this week, I checked out her presentation of the 1959 film, The Wild Women of Wongo, starring nobody that I'm familiar with. This is a real hidden little B movie, of course, because it's probably no licensing or copyright on it, so they could get it for the show. But before we get started, as usual, I will go into a little bit about this film first, and then later into Elvira's presentation specifically. So, for The Wild Women of Wongo, the synopsis is as follows. Men, women, and apes live together as 3 different tribes on the tropical island of Wongo. When the tribes discover that they live together on the island, ape-men start planning a raid on the tribe in order to capture mates. So, this is one where, aside from the understanding that likely everybody probably worked very hard on this film, I have nothing positive to say about it. As you know from the films I cover, I usually try to stay away from trashing films that I don't enjoy, since I know it takes a lot of work to put them together and to get something produced and released, and everybody works hard, and maybe I'm just not the target audience for that film anyways. But this one was rough. So first off, they filmed much of this in Silver Springs, Florida, from what I understand, and but it wasn't like deep in the woods. I swear there were even some points where I could tell that there was like a sidewalk in the background, perhaps. And even if not, everything was very well landscaped and well kempt and everything, so perfectly that it didn't look anywhere like this island that they were trying to portray. And secondly, there is no common man reference point in this story, such as maybe like an outsider from present day, kind of stumbling into this situation to help us kind of relate to what's going on. Instead, everybody talks in like this very stunted caveman style speech, while like the surrounding itself, they are all well kempt as well. We have men who are very clean and close shaved, women who have their hair put up and styled really nice, and so on. Now you combine all that together, and they're not only were not, the story wasn't believable in any way, which considering the film is a ridiculous expectation, I have to admit, but it's just hard to even track what was ultimately going on. So the entire time I just wasn't on board for it, and it was very slow and very boring. All I can remember is that there was something about these different tribes, something about a raid, but that's about it. And it's very slow and boring, like I said, though there were some underwater alligator wrestling going on, or I think it was just a dead one that they were using as a prop. But anyways, sure, a lot of films in this set are like that. They're bad B movies, but there are some like Monster and Night of the Living Dead, and heck, even Dracula's Risen from the Grave, which I can understand some still having some enjoyment out of watching those, but not this one. Which brings us to Elvira and her movie Macabre presentation portion. Now, as usual, she helps to pull this hour and 25 minutes along with her pop-ins along the way, cracking little jokes. In some cases, it's a pretty rapid succession of those pop-ups, just continually poking fun. But there are times where it's like a good 10 minutes between them, and that stretch really drags and is really painful. Now, as for her commercial breaks and those little skits that she has going on, they definitely help quite a bit, as some of this has to do with her trying to find a man, which is interesting to look back on, as she references liking men, hinted that maybe she had some other activities with women, but mainly being into men, which, since this was from about 14 years ago, she was already in a relationship then with T, her partner, and hadn't been out, so it was kind of interesting to see that kind of being filmed. And I also got to meet T at that same convention, which is really cool. Anyways, her parodies about how to find a man, different methods that she's using, whether it's weird books, online stuff, doing something with a cauldron, and especially like that ending portion with the man actually showing up, for the most part, for this entry, make it worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this admittedly very short entry here for The Wild Women of Wongo, which has like a 2.5, I think, on IMDb. It really is not a good one, but this is, of course, as it was presented by Elvira on her movie Macabre. Like many of these entries, it comes down to the usual bad public domain movie for her to make fun of, during which with those pop-ups and her running the sketches during the commercials, and sometimes it works. Sometimes she's able to make it, still worth checking out and everything, but there are some times when even her brand of comedy isn't enough to make it all that enjoyable. I would still lean towards titles in the set like The Werewolf of Washington if you wanted a good mix of a really bad movie, but with a really funny Elvira skit to kind of pull you along, as it was a very politically motivated one that she had going on with a lot of cool impressions. And, but yeah, anyways, you can't win them all with this set. So anyways, thanks for coming by and for sticking around to the end, as it really does help out quite a bit. I have some more reviews and recommendations coming up right around the corner next week. So, and I will try to work in another Elvira one over the next couple of weeks. So be sure to like this video, and if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And hit that little bell icon to get notifications for when I put up new content, which is usually 1 to 3 times a week. That's all I got for this one, and I will see you in the next one.